this video is just to set up creating this entry in the database. All right. So if you want to see more, stay tuned. Okay, so where we start back off is with our sign up view controller. We have an email, a password. Then on our view did load, we created an instance of our database reference. So that's here. So this is what we're going to use in order to save our profile into our database. We're authenticating already for the user. So if the user does not have the authentication already set up, then they'll be coming through this to sign up. So within our sign up function, we have the create user of the Firebase authentication. We're using their email and their password in order to authenticate. If we get any errors, we then will throw out the error. What we want to do if we don't get an error, we want to create the user's profile and then take them to the home page view controller. One of the things I said that I was going to watch for is that the email and the password text fields actually contain data before we try to even sign up. So let's do that. So let's do a guard statement. Let email equal email text dot text. Let password equal password text dot text. Else we're going to return. We can put out some error or something like that. But if that's not the case, so if everything does work out, then we're going to sign up. So we're going to say that email and password. Okay, so I think we're good on that front. So the first thing, let's go ahead and uncomment this self.create profile. We're going to pass it the user in order to store some of the values that were actually created into our database for our user. So let's go ahead and just start building up this idea of the user. So we want to create a new object. So our new user is going to be a collection of their username. And right now let's hold off on username. So let's make that the last thing we do, because what we want to do is we want to make the username the person's email address minus the at whatever.com. So let's hold off on that. And instead, let's go ahead, since we already have their email, let's do that first. Email, and it's going to be within this user object here. So the user that we're getting passed, we're going to say user.email. Okay? Because we already have their email. So why not make it easier on ourselves and just grab that first? We also want our user's profile to have a photo, right? So let's do photo. And right now we're just going to grab the string from the console that we have. So if I go back into here, what I did is in storage, I uploaded the picture of the empty profile. And I'm just going to grab the link. And I'm going to place the link here. All right, so now that I have this object that is our new user, what I need to do now is store this into the database. So since we already have access to the database here, what we're going to do is just say self, so this class, our database reference in this class that we set up right here in this view did load. a child of the folder is going to be called profiles. So and then within that folder, we're going to have another folder called for our users. So their unique ID that Firebase is setting up, they're going to have a folder for that, or rather a branch for that, where we're going to throw in their email, their username, their passwords, all of that good stuff is going to be in there. So we're going to say, we're going to create a child path, and I'm going to go into this a little deeper just so we all understand. So child path, in our user object, we have a ID, a UID, which is going to be a unique string for our user. And then we're going to update the child values. And we've created our values here. So we're just going to say new user. We're going to do a completion block. Error. And then our reference. And then we're going to say if error is not equal to nil. So if we find an error, let's print the error. And then let's return. That's what we're going to do. If we don't, let's tell ourselves that we've created a profile successfully. So what's going to happen is we have on our main storyboard. So on our sign up, we have this button. So our button is actually, like I said, linked to this action here, our sign up button. And it's going to check that we have an email.txt and a password.txt. Then it's going to sign us up, and we'll handle this differently later on. We'll actually create the messages that shows the user like, hey, you need to go ahead and add that. So we'll work on that once we start polishing this thing up a little bit. So it's going to do sign up. It's going to create the user. If it's able to create the user, so if it doesn't receive an error, let's just return here. If it doesn't receive an error, then we're going to go ahead and create a profile. We're going to create this profile in our database, and this should be done once. So once the user is created, a default profile is created. Then we're just going to throw the user back to the home page and then present the home view controller. Now let's talk about the username. So what I said I wanted to do is basically take whatever their email address is before that ampersand, so before the @.com, and store that as their default username. So first we want to know where the ampersand is in the string, because an email could be any given length, right? They could be any given domain. So we're going to use we're going to find this. We're going to find this ampersand somewhere in the email. So we have the user's email, which is going to be user.email. Oops, let me actually put that into something. Okay. And that's passed in through this. And then we're going to create a username. So a uname. And that's going to be, okay, here we go. So our email, the email that our user entered to create the account. Dot components separated by our character set, which is going to be our delimiter. So we're going to separate by their delimiter. Let delimiter, oh, typo. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add this to our user. Right? And that's this variable here that we just saved everything to. And we're just going to say, because what this is giving us is a array. So it's going to split it up. So it's going to have our username, or the beginning of the email. Then it's going to have add into the second variable. So that's why we're just adding it like this. So the first piece of this. Okay, so that's it. Now if we just go ahead and run this, okay, we want to sign up. And let's say cool user at test.com, and we're going to have a password. We're going to sign up. Okay, so it throws us into our brown page, which would be our feed, and I'm going to go ahead and open up at our new profile. So now we have our profile folder, and I probably want to change that to profiles folder for this special user. So the user created this unique ID that's associated with just that user with this email address and its password. Here is our photo. So this is what we'll be loading into our user's profile. And this is our username. So it's going to say cool user, their photo. We have their email address, and they can always update that. I'm not even sure if I want to keep it here, but until something else happens, whatever. All right. So now my next video, I got started pretty late tonight. I planned on getting a lot further, but I feel like this is a good place to stop, and I've passed my time mark, so I think this is a good place. So next we'll actually take this information and put it into the app. So make the photos appear, and then be able to change the photos, change our username. Yeah, and that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, comment below.